story from its website about Robinson's military service before he signed with the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1947. Enormous criticism of the move forced the Defense Department to put Robinson's story back on their website. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, this is Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and for over 20 years, Parkside Economic Development Corporation has served Leimert Park and surrounding communities, empowering tomorrow's leaders and changing lives. Parkside EDC has awarded over $400,000 in college scholarships while sharing economic principles of the Big Five of money with students and their families. Parkside EDC partners with organizations like the Brotherhood Crusade to assure our youth have the financial acumen to succeed. Parkside EDC provides families and businesses with financial insights, offering free online, on-site, and on-air B-Warp presentations. The Black Wealth Attainment and Retention Programs helps our community acquire, sustain, and pass down legacy wealth. High school seniors can apply for this year's scholarship awards at parksideedc.org. Scholarships will be awarded at Parkside EDC's Gospel/Jazz Brunch on Sunday, April the 27th. For details, tickets, or donations, please visit parksideedc.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I bounce back, no pogo, unhappy, no new brands, no logos. Money on my juggler, natural hustler. Think I need a smuggler up in Russia. You could be my butler, shine my cutler. Shout out to Oyenda, that's the guzzler. Okay, next thing, my life is a dream. I call it a theme. The bag is a nice tease. I tried to escape. My life is an X-ray. I'm sorry, tape. You only get one take. Quiet on the set, please.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Anxiety.
Yeah, we're not going to give in to that anxiety right about now, no matter what's happening in the world or in our neighborhood. I mean, look, we are the solution. Luckily, we are the delegation. The KBLA delegation remains strong, and I invite you into the conversation. 800-920-1580. It is, in fact, the perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580. You can also tap in on the chat or at KBLA 1580. The comments remain always a lively place to weigh in. And also you can see our live stream. We stream Monday through Friday all day long on KBLA 1580. Also, talk to me on the social media. We're everywhere under KBLA 1580, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm also there at DiPrima Radio, DIPRIMA Radio. Please like, follow, subscribe, comment, all of the good stuff. Miles, thank you for the update. You know who we did not see at the White House with the president on last night? We did not see Magic Johnson. So there you go. Magic had something better to do. I mean, he didn't make a statement. As far as I can see, he didn't make a statement, except he made a statement by his actions, which is that he felt it would be important to honor Billie Jean King for her ceremony on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And that's where Magic Johnson spent the evening. Good for him. Honoring a pioneering woman instead of going to kowtow at the White House. The president also made a point to insult our two senators, Adam Schiff and Alex Padilla, trying to make it seem like they were in the room and he wasn't going to introduce them, which was a lie. They were not in the room. So if he would have introduced them, he would have looked like an idiot. He tried to make it seem like they were standing somewhere in the back and he just wasn't going to introduce them because he doesn't like them, which his words, not mine. The president's words that he doesn't like our senators. Well, of course not. Adam Schiff led one of the impeachment trials, and Senator Padilla is an MIT grad, so he's got a big brain. Not the type of people that our president typically does embrace. But the whole Dodger team was there, and they were all in their suits, giving the president something to talk about other than his massive failure on the economy. So it is what it is. That's the choice they made. They said they wanted to have the full experience of the championship, which includes a trip to the White House. They also said that they were respecting the office of the presidency. Okay, so we're going to leave that there. The Supreme Court has decided that that the Trump administration can keep deporting Venezuelans using this Wartime Powers Act. This overturns a decision by a lower court that had stopped those deportations. It's a victory for the Trump administration that they can continue to use the Alien Enemies Act to send people seeking asylum, immigrants, to El Salvador, to a prison there, which is notoriously a violator of human rights, which we've paid $6 million to the government, the totalitarian government of El Salvador, where people are reportedly tortured, starved, and abused. Now, the Supreme Court did not say it was constitutional to use the Alien Enemies Act. They just said that the lawsuit to stop it was filed in the wrong court. It should have been filed in Texas, where those Venezuelans were being held, rather than in court in Washington. The justices did agree that Venezuelan migrants should have advance notice and an opportunity to challenge their deportation before being removed. I'm sure the green card holder married to an American citizen who's sitting in a Salvadorian prison would have liked that. What we know for sure is that there'll be a lot more on this if this case is refiled in Texas and it comes back to the Supreme Court. Then they'll have to rule on whether or not it is constitutional to activate a War Powers Act when there's no war on our soil, no war that we're directly involved with. I mean, we could cite wars that we meddle in and fund, but that is not what the War Powers Act is meant for. A second child has died of measles in Texas. There's an outbreak there. There are outbreaks scattered throughout the country. We've even seen a couple cases here in LA County, San Bernardino County, actually, I think it is. No, Riverside. Yeah, Riverside. Now RFK is suddenly promoting the MMR vaccine to stop the spread of measles. I don't think he wants to be associated with a slew of child deaths. Daisy Hildebrand, who was just 8 years old, passed away in February, and another child, I think Kaylee Fair is her name, passed away over the weekend. And, of course, we'll continue to see the trade wars, because the tariffs are so spread around throughout the world that they're kind of trade wars on multiple fronts. China is quite angry at us at the moment, slamming Vice President J.D. Vance because he called the Chinese people peasants. And they are clowning him for being a hillbilly. Of course, he famously wrote the book Hillbilly Elegy. They're clowning him for being a hillbilly, calling them peasants. It's getting not so friendly on the international scene. Donald Trump has threatened to add a 50% tariff on top of the 34% if China doesn't take off their tariffs by today. He said he's not looking at a pause in enforcing the tariffs. He said he's moving forward with it. And China, are they going to remove their retaliatory tariff? No. So now he's going to put a 50% tariff on top of that. And is China just going to accept that? I mean, you don't have to be a foreign policy expert to know the answer to that. A federal judge in Washington will hold a hearing today, and we'll find out whether there's probable cause to hold the Trump administration in contempt for violating his orders to halt that wartime authority and deport those Venezuelans, even though he had ordered it stopped. They could still be in contempt for that, even though the Supreme Court has said that they now have a right to go ahead and use that Wartime Powers Act until the objection to it is fired in the correct court. So many things to track, but we're still not getting caught up in anxiety. I'm still continuing to celebrate and revel in the fact that the American people are waking up and pushing back, and that probably 1 million people marched in the United States on Saturday. And it's just the beginning, although we've heard some glitches and adjustments being made to the organizing around it. Some of these groups like 5051, they're fairly new. They've come about since the second election of Donald Trump. But what is great news is that people, even some of the people who are not activists, who didn't protest in 2020, who have not been organizers their whole lives, are now stepping up, and hopefully they will be able to sustain the resistance to some of the more egregious parts of this Republican New Confederate MAGA agenda. 800-920-1580, that's the number to call if you got a thing to say about a thing. 800-920-1580. You are welcome in all the time. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and we're unapologetically outspoken, unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. Before the fire, Altadena was a real-life Wakanda. A thriving black oasis just 15 miles from downtown Los Angeles. 80% black residents were homeowners, building intergenerational wealth against the odds. It was a hub of black-owned businesses, churches, and cultural institutions. It stood as a symbol of black resilience and economic independence. Then, in a matter of hours, it was gone. The fire tore through homes, swallowed businesses, and left behind a painful void. But was it just an unstoppable act of nature, or was negligence involved? Did officials ignore early warning signs? Were the response efforts delayed or insufficient? What role, if any, did corporate or government failures play? Survivors are demanding answers. Don't miss our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall. The Eden Altadena Fire, 100 days and counting. On Wednesday, April 16th, 4 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center, 1081 North Fair Oaks in Pasadena. Join Dominique DiPrima, Nee Cordelai Corte, James Farr, Tavis Smiley, and a panel of survivors, community leaders, and experts as we commemorate Day 100 since the wildfires flared up, and we discuss where we go from here. It's KBLA's Eden Altadena Fire, 100 Days and Counting Town Hall, Wednesday, April 16th, 4 to 6 p.m. at the Robinson Park Recreation Center in Pasadena. Light refreshments to follow. Admission is free, but sign-up is required at our KBLA1580.com website. The first 100 attendees will receive a complimentary air purifier. This is a community call to action, brought to you by KBLA Talk 1580 and Quinn Emanuel Trial Lawyers. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
It's me, Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. I see those dry elbows, baby. But don't worry, get moisturized right in the shower. So hydrated you can skip the lotion after.
Don't wanna see it dry no more. Skin so moisturized with body wash.
Look at you now, no more dry skin. Your skin gets the moisture it craves with
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
In case you were confused, I don't think most of us are, but in case you were confused about the agenda of Elon Musk, Doge, Donald Trump, the Republican Party at this moment in time, the fact that Elon Musk is now urging Donald Trump to back off these tariffs should clear it up. He doesn't care if tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of federal workers lose their jobs. He is delighted that older Americans will have their Social Security cut and or inaccessible, as they've laid off 7,000 in Social Security alone and tanked their computers with glitches. He does not care about the dismantling of the Department of Education and what it would do to special education children and children in general. None of those are important. But now, oh no, do not harm the titans of industry. Do not harm the corporate wealthy. Do not harm the richest of the rich. Apparently, Elon Musk not only attacked the tariffs in an interview where he said he wanted Europe to have zero tariffs. He commented on them on X, and apparently he had a private meeting with Trump asking him to reverse the tariffs, calling them market tanking measures. The Washington Post is reporting it was an attempted intervention, pleading with the president to back off on those tariffs. But Trump was like, no. So even Mr. Musk apparently has limits to his powers. Musk has said, that he's concerned about the tariffs. He's actually blasted Peter Navarro, who's a Trump advisor, sort of blaming Navarro for the tariffs because he doesn't want to blame Trump, because then they'll be fighting and then he may fall out of favor. But still, this is some high-level infighting in the Trump administration, and I imagine it's going to get worse, because if the president doesn't suddenly swap out and decide, that tanking the U.S. economy is a bad idea, this is going to continue. I know the stock market opened better today, but we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. This is what, day 2. The tariffs, the big tariffs on China would go into effect today. The extra 50%. That tariff anxiety is what the Washington Post is calling it. They're shaking it off today, and it looks like a rebound is in the offing. But we'll see. They're saying if that trend holds today, it will get some of the ground back that it lost the last few days. It had lost 12% since last Wednesday. That's the S&P 500. So we'll see if that trend holds. I doubt it. If we have, if Trump decides that he's going to stay strong, LOL, on these tariffs, I doubt we'll see a sustained rebound, but we'll see. B. Bell says they don't care. They're acting on their morals, take from the many and give to the few. Yeah, I also think that the analysis that says they're breaking everything so they could so-called fix it by privatizing it is exactly right. They don't have to care about voters for two reasons. Number one, if Trump plans to stay in office, that's highly illegal anyway. Number two, if they are, we know they're practicing very, very effective voter suppression. And if this executive order stands, it limits voters even more. And then some of us believe they could be meddling with those voting tallies. They don't have to worry about voters, number one. And then number two, not only they don't have to worry about voters, maybe they don't care, because if the plan is to break everything so they could privatize it, meaning own it and profit off of it, then it doesn't really matter what you think or the next guy thinks. And that's the only thing that seems to make sense, because this administration is doing things that are directly hurting their own base and which are going to catch up to them. Closing down food banks, shutting out help through Medicaid, which is keeping rural clinics and hospitals open, taking away aid for farmers. All of these things will significantly impact their base, the MAGA voter. And so to me, that what it's telling me is that they do not care about their base, which means you're not worried about the election, and that your goal has nothing to do with governance. Your goal has to do with plundering the Treasury. I'm glad people are waking up to it. I know there's a lot more to come as far as people realizing what's going on. And so that's why I said this weekend's protests are just the beginning. My understanding is that 5051, MoveOn.org, and some of these other organizations are planning to do protests of this nature monthly, and they will continue to build momentum as people figure out what is happening. Jerry Anderson says the bump in the market is in anticipation of Trump falling back on his position, which he has done several times, to your point, Jerry. But and maybe they think with Elon Musk urging him to back off, he will. But I don't know. We'll see. He certainly seems to be digging in his heels this week and over the weekend, sending his cabinet members out. Although with some of his big name backers, kind of not just Elon Musk, but also this guy, Bill Ackman, who said he thinks the president will delay the implementation of tariffs, and Ben Shapiro, the right wing, I can't think of a suitable name. Let's call him a pundit. He says the tariffs are probably unconstitutional. So that means his hardcore supporters are even backing off of this. So far, he is saying, this is what he put on Truth Social. This is an economic revolution, and we will win. The operative word is we, though. When he says we, I believe he's talking about his peers, and I believe he's right. Trump is right in this case. They will win. The billionaires are going to win. When they privatize your water, your power, your schools, they are going to be profiting off the basic services that humans need. And in this country, they can give you worse service and charge you more, and they will win. But will you win? Will I win? I don't think so. That's the whole point. You have to identify who the we is, and that's what's so dangerous about this fake populism, is that they've somehow convinced people that they are the working class. And they are very much the elite. They're very much the establishment. These are billionaires. How are Trump and Musk not the elite? They are both billionaires. Trump is the richest man in the world. Kwamel says Trump suffers from TDS, tariff derangement syndrome. And yeah, no doubt. But now we are starting to see some pushback. So we shall see. I mentioned the banks, Barclays, Deutsche Bank, Royal Bank have all said that the tariffs could send us into a recession. JP Morgan Chase says they see a 60% chance of a recession, even though the administration is, saying, oh, no, it's nothing to see here. Everything's fine. But there is now starting to be a few Republicans who are pushing back. I don't know if they're worried about their reelection. There's a House bill that's supposed to be a companion bill to one in the Senate that would bring control of tariffs back to Congress. There's already been a vote to stop a vote on the House bill. So I think it's mostly symbolism. That's why I say maybe they're looking at their elections and how their voters will blame them when veteran services are cut, when schools are defunded, when jobs are no longer available to folks, because federal workers don't just work in Washington. They work all over the country, including in our national parks. And so the fact that there's that pushback is notable, along with some conservatives who are looking at legal ways to push back on these Trump tariffs. I think that's really unusual. When do, in the past, whatever it is, 5 years, when have we, especially the past 3 years, when have we seen Republicans pushing back on anything? That means they see a full-fledged financial disaster on the horizon. Now, I had mentioned Jareen Person Lynn. He's not going to be on until next week. And we are going to talk next Tuesday about how to protect yourself and your family in these times financially. Most of us don't have a big stock portfolio, but the impact, the trickle down, the interest rates, the prices of groceries, etc., all those things impact you whether you have stock holdings or not. News, traffic, and sports, then it's the perfect time to call me, 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DiPrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms plans to run for governor in 2026. She served as a senior advisor in the Biden administration and worked with Kamala Harris. The Supreme Court upheld a New York law requiring handgun owners to demonstrate good moral character. The law bans carrying weapons in schools, parks, and theaters and requires applicants to have the necessary character and judgment for a firearm license. The Trump administration is revoking visas for South Sudanese nationals due to the country's refusal to accept deportees. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced future visas will also be denied. Several deportees have filed lawsuits leading to temporary restraining orders. And starting Thursday, parody accounts on X must use fake or parody as the first word in their name and use different images from those they represent. These changes aim to reduce confusion and impersonation. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
Is this the time?
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers have lost 3 of their last 4 games after losing to the Washington Nationals 6-4 Monday night. Monday morning, when the Dodgers visited the White House to be honored by President Trump for winning the World Series last season, all the players and staff wore a suit and tie. Somebody should have made the suggestion that everybody in the Dodgers group wear a number 42 Jackie Robinson jersey to the ceremony. That would have been a huge statement and a message to Trump that the Dodgers organization firmly stands behind Major League Baseball's first black player. Under orders from Trump, the U.S. Defense Department 2 weeks ago removed a story from its website about Robinson's military service before he signed with the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1947. Enormous criticism of the move forced the Defense Department to put Robinson's story back on their website. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hi, I'm Dominique DiPrima, and it's almost time to celebrate KBLA's 4th anniversary, coming up Juneteenth 2025. We'll be marking the achievement with 4 key community events, including a special symposium, luncheon, and brain trust hosted by me entitled The State of Black Women in Los Angeles. Keep it locked here for details on how to join us for this groundbreaking symposium examining the unique challenges, triumphs, and contributions of Black women in Los Angeles in the areas of education, healthcare, community leadership, cultural and political contributions. This public convocation will provide a critical forum to address the specific social, economic, and political realities facing Black women in LA today. We'll go live with a radio broadcast and YouTube live stream, a public discussion, and a private dialogue with some of LA's most impactful women. It's an affirmation of Black women standing at the intersection of race and gender in times of adversity while demonstrating remarkable resilience and leadership. We will listen and we will speak out and be heard, all in service of finding opportunities and solutions. Please plan to join us in celebrating our 4th anniversary by amplifying the voices of Black women. For more on our symposium and 4 events celebrating 4 years on the air, simply stay tuned or keep an eye on KBLA1580.com and help make this Juneteenth more jubilant with all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
At Exquisite Family Mortuary, we know how overwhelming it can be planning a meaningful farewell for your loved one. Secure your peace of mind by calling Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. From traditional funeral services to memorials to direct cremation, pre-needs, and more. Call Charlotte White at Exquisite Family Mortuary for Southern hospitality in Southern California. That's Charlotte White at 323-577-5562. Exquisite Family Mortuary is located nearby in Inglewood, California. Exquisite Family Mortuary, where your loved one becomes our loved one.
After producing an award-winning climate justice campaign in 2024, KBLA Talk 1580 has gone all in on its 2025 Climate Justice plus Black Health Initiative. April is Minority Health Month, and Urban Family Focus, in partnership with Providence Health Systems, presents The Heart of the Matter. Providence doctors and health equity officers will participate in informative and life-changing conversations on hypertension, health equity, behavioral health, and community engagement. Don't miss these empowering conversations on Urban Family Focus every Saturday in April at 7 and Sunday at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Sponsored by Providence, Southern California's largest and most comprehensive health care network. We've got a lot to talk about on KBLA Talk 1580. Download the KBLA 1580 app or log in to KBLA1580.com. I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. On KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
We're not
for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
And by everybody, we mean you. 800-920-1580. That is the number to call. Well, the Queen of Compton, also the Duchess of the KBLA delegation chat. Maybe I should say Senator. Duchess sounds a little imperial. Molly Bell, good morning.
Reparations in memory of our ancestors, and God bless morning to you and to all the KBLA listeners. And Dominique, you have been doing, sometimes I want to cry. You and KBLA have done so much with what happened in Altadena. I mean, seriously, what happened? I mean, I know James Farr has his place, but I didn't know of him until I met him on your show.
Right.
And sometime I would, disagree with him politically, but I didn't know him that way. But I was calling in is because I'm in a quandary. I have a problem. For me, I think that we as Ray Richardson in his report, he said that if the Dodgers had come on there with Jackie Robinson T-shirts on just to see the president, he said that would have been a good idea. For me, I think that there's a part of me, I agree with you. I'm not in disagreement. This is just a quandary for me. I think that we should always, as best as we can, support the office of the president. When we go rogue, don't do what the president says do, then we're acting, in my opinion, we're acting as ignorant as he is. And so I think that we are smarter than him. I love all the protests that's going on. I'm hoping that I could get better so that I could go out there and be a part of it. But I'm having vertigo, something like that, problems where my head just spins. And I know some people might say, hope it spin and roll down the street. But
oh, no, they wouldn't say that.
Well, sometimes it does. I'm saying that I want us to be the catalyst, to show Trump, to show the Republicans how we're supposed to act. And I want to just add that, and that's all I wanted to say on that. But I also wanted to say that a lot of my friends who are 70, in Social Security, they said that there's a website that you can go to where you can download your work history so that when Elon Musk and others just take it down, then they will say you're going to have to prove that you worked all that time. I don't have it. I'm hoping that somebody will, but if I do, I could call somebody and put it in the chat room. And so that's just what I wanted to say. Do you think I'm just being too liberal? Because I am a liberal. I want to be progressive like you, Dominique. And I know that for me, progressive means forward. So am I making any sense to you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think you're, I'm not the one to ask. I don't think you're too liberal. I think come on. You may, in my opinion, you are a progressive, Molly Bell, and I'm saying that based on watching how you've moved over the years, the protests that you've partaken in and the positions that you have held over the years. I would call you a progressive.
Wow.
But, what do I know? I do think that, we want to model humanity, decorum, truthfulness, honorability, love for our fellow humans, right? We want to model that because we're not seeing it being modeled by the people in office right now. And I think that's what you're talking about. But at the same time, you don't want to be a punk and bring a knife to a gunfight. And so, I think Cory Booker was trying to walk that line, right, of resisting but still being eloquent and being gentlemanly and coloring inside the lines of civic engagement, of decent civic engagement. But
Can I say something right?
Yeah, of course.
That?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Like when people say, you don't want to bring a gun to a gunfight. We're not. This is not the OK Corral. Trump is not going to be fair. The minute you walk up to him to go to a gunfight, he already has 3 ballistic missiles in back of you. He already has a Advil over your head, and even when you take your step, it's going to be quicksand. We're not dealing with a fair man. So the only thing for me, for the safety of our people, we have got to find a way to be fair. Cory Booker did what they were saying, Strom Thurmond. He was a great guy for doing all this, and he did it. I can talk. You can talk. I don't know if we could have stayed up there 25 hours without going, well, I guess I would have to have on, and this is real personal, I must go have to have on a Depend or something, because I don't know what I'm going to do for that whole time like that. But I thought that was awesome, and I didn't listen to all of it. I listened to some of it, then I would turn back to it. I'm saying I think that fairness begets fairness, but ugliness means don't change me. Don't change me. And that's all that I'm saying. I'm not upset with anybody or disagree with anyone who says that. And I'm having trouble with my cell phone, so I can't even see in the chat room now. But I'm just saying that, yeah, that's what I said. Anyway, I'm just saying that I think that we could think smarter, and I liked what Ray Richardson said, that if they had wore Jackie Robinson shirts, if they had done something else, sometimes we've got to think out the box. We've got to be progressive. Even when I disagreed with Gaza at first, I understood when those who wanted Gaza to someone to represent Gaza, when Kamala Harris, I had to stand with them. And I love me some Kamala, but I had to stand with them. They chose a way. They didn't mess up the Democratic convention, but they wanted to speak, and she should have let them speak. And that's one thing that I'm going to have to deal with Kamala. They did it in a respectful way. They were outside. They went to where the convention was. So I'm saying that you are one of the most creative persons that I know. And I would love to hear from you some creative ways that we can just, I don't know, do something and not be reactionary. Trump would have loved it if we didn't show up. All his people would have said, yeah, they didn't want to come up in here because they know that this isn't that isn't that. Anyway, that's just how I'm thinking. So for those, and I'm going to close, and I'll listen to any more comments off the air. But listen, all you prayer warriors out there, we've got to do unto others as you would have them do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. And all you prayer warriors, you know what you've got to do. You've got to keep fasting. You've got to keep praying, because the struggle, honest to God, hope to die tonight continues. But always, to God be the glory. How about those Lakers? Thank you, Dominique.
Thank you, Molly Bell. It's well said. You know, I wish they wouldn't have gone to the White House at all. I don't see any real widespread player protests in any sport like what we saw in 2020 with folks kneeling, etc. The 42 on the jerseys would have been nice, since the Trump administration, to your point, took Jackie Robinson off of the website of the Defense Department. Really, I guess Pete Hegseth gets that credit, and then put it back on. It's the same thing they've done with the Harriet Tubman Underground Railroad messaging. They took it off the website of the Parks Department, then they put it back on after public outcry. More indication of the level of incompetence. But I just don't see a whole team agreeing to that type of protest. That would have been seen as a protest, and I just don't see them doing it. I would have welcomed it. I am super happy that Magic Johnson decided to stay here in LA and go to Billie Jean King's Walk of Fame ceremony rather than, hanging out with President Trump. He didn't make a statement about it. He just did what he did. I love that. He didn't, to your point, Molly Bell, try to say, well, I'm disrespecting the office of the presidency. I wouldn't have been mad at that. But anyway, he did not do that. He just chose not to go. And I love that for us, LA. They not like us. But I understand your point. It's about decorum and upholding some kind of societal norms in a time when things appear to be falling apart. 800-920-1580. That's the number Molly Bell called. I invite you to do the same, only on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. The Live Your Life organization mentors young women, helping them break negative mindsets and see beyond their surroundings. Through career exposure and hands-on training, they're encouraged to think big, stay focused, and make positive choices. Founded by Nikisha Mama Boo Smith, who transformed her life to become a community leader. Live Your Life is changing lives, but they need your help. They're raising funds to keep their new building open and expand their programs. Your donations will support food, clothes, hygiene products, and holiday giveaways. Visit liveyourlife32.com. That's LIVEYOLIFE32.com to help today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Life blooms in beautiful ways. The Afia Center invites you to celebrate At the End with Red Gala, honoring the strength and resilience of Black women living with HIV. Join us for an evening of empowerment as we launch the Barbara Cambridge Scholarship and kick off Herstory Month with our theme, Life in Full Bloom. Your support helps create vital HIV programming and builds a future where every voice is heard and every story matters. The End with Red Gala, because every flower deserves to bloom.
To learn more and to donate, visit theafiacenter.org.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
You belong here. We're glad that you are here, and you're welcome in. 800-920-1580. That is the number to call. as we unpack what's going on around the world and around our country. So started off the day talking about Altadena and how the fires, it's 90 days out, and those fires, they're still really in the early phases of dealing with the recovery, and yet the supplies are dwindling. The interest is not what it used to be, and it feels like there's a lot more work to do. So that is why we're having a town hall meeting next Wednesday, the 16th, 4 to 6 at the Robinson Park Recreation Center. It's also why this national news about the Trump administration dismantling FEMA is really problematic. I mean, for one thing, there's a program that was actually put in place during the first term of Donald Trump. It's a FEMA program that is meant to fix infrastructure issues that we know will cause a problem with the changing climate, right? Things like putting homes in flood-prone areas up on stilts or putting them up higher, securing drinking water systems in the areas that are now going to be flooding regularly in places like Appalachia. And these are funds that come from FEMA because we know, just like in California, voters just approved a bunch of money to take care of some of these infrastructure things in advance. We know that it's way less expensive to plan in advance, to elevate those homes, to fix the infrastructure, than it is to fix it after the whole thing breaks. So, for example, the floods sweep away homes. Now you've got to build them from scratch. But if you had put them on stilts or raised them up some other kind of way, now you're just cleaning up from the flood. So there were a bunch of grants that were given to do that work in the first Trump administration. Now the second Trump administration is cutting those same grants. So any money that hasn't been spent for what they call the preparedness grant program, building resilient infrastructure in communities, or BRIC, is going to be canceled. So this is the Trump administration canceling their own program to mitigate infrastructure harm because they're labeling it as some kind of green spending. And it's part of the elimination of FEMA. It's not just that they get rid of these agencies. They're squeezing them, squeezing the life, squeezing the money, disqualifying the programs until they become useless. Let's go to Belle calling us from L.A. Good morning, Molly Bell, and then Belle. Welcome.
Hey, good morning, B. Bell here. I just want to say, guys, we got to be careful of normalizing this stuff. We got to question authority. We got to push back. We have to, we got to get out there. And I'm so glad Magic Johnson didn't show up. I wish the whole team would have showed up to the White House. But, they did. And I'm sure the Philadelphia Eagles will be there, too. So, we got to question authority. We got to push back. We can't just normalize this stuff and act like it's, it's just another fun day at the White House. I understand, hey, all respect due time, Molly. We got the same last name. That's probably a distant cousin or something. But, I just think it's different times right now. And we've always been the people to be politically correct or, try to make people feel comfortable and all this. I just think, we have to really put our feet in the dirt and get busy. So
put our feet. So you're not one of these people that thinks black people should have sat out Saturday's marches.
No, I think anything we can do at this time, we need to be doing it.
Right.
We only have so much power. We only have, they have all the resources, but we have numbers. We have, we're resilient. We've been through this.
Yes.
And worse. So we have to, we have to take advantage of anything that we can. You got to get out there. So,
I think so too. I mean, I think this idea that black people are sitting out protests, the way I interpret it is, we're not going to do the work for you. We're not going to do the heavy lifting for you. White folks and Latinos are going to need to be mobilizing their own communities. That's how I look at it. It doesn't mean that we're not going to be doing anything. We don't even have the luxury to do nothing.
Exactly. We have to get out there and demand fairness. We have to, demand transparency. Not that, they're going to just open the books and say, hey, yeah, this is exactly what we're doing. But they're showing us. We know what they're doing. I don't think this is by accident. It's by design.
Yeah, I think that's right. You sound pretty upbeat, though, even though as you're saying all this. So how are you dealing with your own anxiety or stress around this stuff?
Exercise. I'm trying to drink more water and do stuff like that. It's hard, man. It's you turn on the TV, listen to the radio. Thankfully, we have KBLA, so we can relieve a little stress and we can get on here and vent and speak with like-minded people. But you just every day is just every day. Life is life, and so we just got to get up and keep lifing and push back, fight.
Yeah, I love that you said water and exercise, because I think those are the basics, but we have to do it. We have to do it because when we get in times that are anxiety-provoking and stressful, it's really easy to neglect that stuff, but it takes a toll on our well-being. This is how we get dis-ease. This is how anxiety and fear turns into toxic problems in the body that we do not need.
We start binge eating and death scrolling and, just anything to kind of escape for a second. And next thing you know, they just pushed through another crazy policy and we're trying to catch up. So we just got to stay on top of things. And, hey, the fight continues, y'all. Fight continues.
Not doom scrolling and binge eating at the same time. Sounds like, and then you look up and hours have gone by. Calories have gone by. No, we're pushing back. I love that, B. Bell, and I appreciate the call. Not to add to your anxiety, but the Justice Department is now saying they're directing prosecutors not to go after cryptocurrency fraud. Just in case you wondered where their priorities are. Defund Social Security and let the Bitcoin bros run wild. This is a Justice Department memo that went out Monday night. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche said the department will no longer participate in the regulation of the digital asset space and will instead focus on crimes that people commit with cryptocurrency, like narcotics and human trafficking. I guess the president's crypto venture is safe from the Department of Justice. Laugh to keep from crying. Cue the yoga tape here. We are talking FDA. We are talking food safety and how to know what's going on in that space. When we come forward today, we'll be talking with Ann Beneventi. I'm Dominique DiPrima, and you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. Former Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms plans to run for governor in 2026. She served as a senior advisor in the Biden administration and worked with Kamala Harris. The Supreme Court upheld a New York law requiring handgun owners to demonstrate good moral character. The law bans carrying weapons in schools, parks, and theaters and requires applicants to have the necessary character and judgment for a firearm license. The Trump administration is revoking visas for South Sudanese nationals due to the country's refusal to accept deportees. Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced future visas will also be denied. Several deportees have filed lawsuits leading to temporary restraining orders. And starting Thursday, parody accounts on X must use fake or parody as the first word in their name and use different images from those they represent. These changes aim to reduce confusion and impersonation. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.
The Dodgers have lost 3 of their last 4 games after losing to the Washington Nationals 6-4 Monday night. Monday morning, when the Dodgers visited the White